Okay, before I put everything away here, I just wanted to do one more test on V3 and show you the difference. This is what I call microbubbles. I mean, you can barely see them. Of course, this is not on the solar. This is just on a 12-volt battery going back here to the shed. But man, I mean, I can barely see those bubbles. I don't know if you can, but I can barely see them. They're so microscopic. They're definitely there, and I think I can see them if I really look hard. I'm going to open up the valve just a little tiny bit here. Unfortunately, the intake is so small, sometimes it's hard to get the bubbles to come out. I don't know if that flow rate is too low. It's possible that the throat diameter needs to be just a little bit bigger, because like I said, the other ones, they just squirt out. It'd be nice to do a flow volume study where you just, put that into a liter bottle and see how much can really come out. Compare it to these other guys over here. But anyway, once I shake it around a little bit, you start to get some of those bubbles coming again. You can see them floating around in there, and it's almost getting milky. Maybe the thing is, I just can't hardly see them. But I see they're floating around in the water because I can just barely see those microbubbles. I just have a hard time picking them up. Let me play with the valve a little more, see if I can open it up further, or maybe if I bring the water valve up, it might be that inflow is at 0.3 millimeters is just too small. But I mean, I do see them coming out. You can just barely see it. I hope you can see it there. I can see it. But I mean, it's just like a tiny whiff of smoke coming out almost. Just such a small amount. It would be nice to see a little higher flow. I mean, now I got this clamp wide open, and it's still just putting out those little whiff of tiny bubbles that you can barely see. It'd just be nice to get a higher flow rate, I believe. Maybe tiny higher intake of air. But I've never seen bubbles that small coming out, so hold on a second. Boy, I tell you, I don't know if that's going to work. I might have to modify into a version 4. I can see it, but they're hard to see. Let's see if you can see it. Definitely see it. Sometimes it's the lighting. I mean, those are the smallest bubbles I've ever seen coming out of anything. This blows away version 1 and 2 in terms of size of bubbles. I do believe if I can get a better look. It's too bad I don't have a black background here. Let me see if I got a trash bag. Definitely can see something, right? Look at the bubbles on the glass forming. I mean, there's definitely bubbles coming out, and they're quite a large volume right now. But we got it wired to check. I got it a little backwards there, but so what? It's 0.24, 0.25 amps that it's trying to pull. What a bummer, though. There's something wrong with V3. Okay, it's the smallest bubbles I've ever seen. Sounds like it's on. It is drawing. Maybe there's not something wrong. I see bubbles coming out now. It's just so hard to see them. I see them going up. It's definitely oxygenating the tank. Look at the sides. Look at the sides of the wall. That's unique to version 3. I think there's bubbles. I just don't know if it's optimal. I'll have to look into this, ask some people. Maybe I should make the throat a little bigger. Maybe I should make the intake a little bigger. But I've never, ever seen bubbles that small. They're so small you can barely see them, honestly. But it must be doing something. I wish I had an oxygen meter or something I could see, but if I just get the black, perfect. They're there. They're just hard as anything to see. And it's really not drawing. The max load is 0.35 for these pumps, I believe. The battery's giving us about 13 volts. Huh, isn't that interesting? So it doesn't keep it directly at 12. I guess it depends on what the battery controller is sensing, the upper limit of the battery. Let's go check that out real quick. Yep, we're at 3.6. With 13 volts behind the battery, it's definitely working. And I see microbubbles, they're just so minimal. There's just not a lot of them. Disappointing. At 13 volts, you don't even need a valve. Isn't that interesting? Okay, with version 3, I think the problem is there's not enough air getting in. Somehow that hole is just too small, because now you see the bubbles coming out, but that's because I lifted it up just a little bit. Once I let air in through there, you hear it? Let's see. Put it back in the water. Now watch. Oh, there's an immediate burst of small bubbles. So, somehow the air is just not getting through the Venturi. You almost have to input it through other means. Either when I was readjusting the hub here, or when I just lift it up a little bit, I get a wave of small bubbles. So, and the bubbles are very micro. They're very tiny. They look great, but how long will that last? There has to be a balance between intake and flow, and I haven't figured out how to do that yet. Maybe there's some calculation someone can tell me about, but I'm gonna either try to expand the hole on V3, the throat hole, or I'm gonna expand the intake hole. I think the intake hole probably makes more sense, since when I lift it up, I get small bubbles. That tells me that I'm not getting enough air. It's not the flow rate necessarily, it's the air intake is just too tiny. Isn't it interesting here? We've drilled that little hole into the hub with that tiny drill, getting a tiny bit of microbubbles out. You see next to those big, huge bubbles. So now with the bigger opening, despite having tried 2 shutoff valves, I mean, this one's tiny, and I tried this one too, all the way down. It just does not provide limited airflow to prevent those coalescing bubbles. But the interesting thing is, why are they coalescing like that on the top of the tube? Maybe the tube's way too long. See how they come out and then they just come together. Maybe the exit tube should be spiraled as well to prevent that. Maybe it has to have higher flow velocity. Maybe it's just so slow, even if you spiraled it, those bubbles would find their way to the top of the tube and exit and coalesce together. The best microbubbles actually don't come from a 0.3 mil hole. Put it underwater, it stops. Really, I think what's happening is the residual air that's in this line here from the impeller is really the key. Watch this. This is impelled air. Watch this. You'll get residual. Look at those microbubbles. Is it because the impeller is chopping it up? Hold on a second. Well, I just tried to feed a white hose up from the intake up and out so that water and air would go in together, but it failed. Look at that outflow, nothing. I thought this was a good design, but maybe it was just a little too aggressive. I might have to go back to version 2. So after some frustration, I ended up not getting V3 able to work. I ended up breaking it apart so I could take a look inside. It turns out that the throat was blocked with some plastic after I tried to enlarge the hole from the opening here for the air duct. I must have melted some plastic down into it, and some piece of dirt got into that micro hole. Anyway, watch when I turn the airflow on what happens. It's like a little nozzle. Goodness gracious, they block up so easy. Let me blow into it and clear it. Okay, now I'm hoping it'll work. Oh yeah, now it's starting to work. See? Look at those nice micro bubbles. Oh my gosh, it does work. It's just, again, if you get any gradue in there, any debris, where are we? Here we are. If you get any debris in there, you can just kiss the operation of this thing goodbye. But otherwise, I mean, man, even as a nozzle, those bubbles coming up, there's no coalescing. Look at the jet on this thing now. It's way stronger. So, tons of micro bubbles. Tons of micro bubbles. Perhaps. Okay, now look, we still got them. Still got them. Just cranking away. Tons of activity there. Tons of micro bubbles. I don't see. I'm going to try this on the solar and see if I can get the same kind of results. But yeah, I mean, why throw that away? That's a good nozzle. It's not really a true Venturi. It's more a half Venturi or cone-shaped Venturi on just the front side. We're back. V3 has nothing in it. It's just an empty hose. And it's just pumping out the bubbles. None of them are coalescing. V2 is working real well too. Boy, I wish I had the greatest idea here for you. I don't know what's best anymore. Anyway, more thinking about it. I can at least put these into service until I think about it some more. Thanks.